Sometimes you just have to get down to it, I guess. Well, here we go. Figure I gotta come on hard. Let you know what's happening. The question is kundalini opening dangerous? Yes, it's very dangerous. This is interesting because I like my glasses on, but I can see pictures in the background. What is this kundalini knowledge? There's a lot of talk about kundalini. Some people say you could walk down the street and get a cool breeze and get a certain feeling, and that's kundalini opening. If that's what they believe, then that's fine. There's a whole branch of science dedicated to kundalini opening in the Hindu yoga system. That is not how they describe the kundalini opening. And they're yoga masters who train for years, getting ready for the one moment. Some succeed, some don't. Seems like recently most have not. There are even famous people, I guess you would call them kind of spiritual philosophers, who attempted the kundalini opening and they knew they didn't make it. And there's certain people who attempted the kundalini opening and completely zapped out. Kundalini opening is very dangerous. The ancients have written this, and therefore you should know there's nothing to play with. Yoga master might spend 10 or 15 years preparing himself for the ordeal. That's what they call it, an ordeal. And when you know what happens during the process, you will know why it's called an ordeal. I have something for you what I've written about the kundalini opening. It's called the Kundalini Yoga Christian Master Is. And that's my name, Frank M. Conaway, Conaway Jr. The ISBN number on this book is 978-1-312-33119-8. Why do I say Christian Master? Because that's what I used. I used the Bible, actually. Kundalini and science is hidden in your biblical book, referred to as the Revelation, but that's not the correct name. It's the Apocalypse. The reason it's called the Apocalypse is because the curtain basically comes down. The energy curtain of your body, of yourself. You need to be aware of this too. You're fooling around with your human energy core. If you think of your primary seed, the egg and the sperm, think of the sperm as being in motion inside of a sphere, and that motion creates a type of dynamo, an engine, so to speak. And from the programmed motion of the interaction of the sperm and the egg, you have the replication of the original seed, and the, I guess you could say, clones being programmed to do other things, to turn into a finger, to turn into a toe, so forth and so on. Then you start talking about this macrocosm and microcosm. From that one seed, or one fish, you get a larger fish. That larger fish is what you call basically your cerebral cortex, your brain, spinal column, so forth and so on. It's just that you sprouted other flippers, I guess, to be arms and legs. The inverse of that is kundalini is considered to be a serpent. And this electromagnetic energy particle, yes, well, electromagnetic liquid energy particle is a small, big cerebral cortex, basically. It's your mini-me. So what happens during this kundalini opening is that the ancient you is basically released. You go to the door. You say, what door? This is where it starts to get tricky. This is going to question the meaning of life. What is the meaning of this life? The kundalini knowledge is found in several cultures. Kundalini knowledge is found in the Egyptian culture. Yeah. The first text that I wrote was called Baptist, Gnostic, Christian, Ebonic, Kundalini, and Spiritual Keto Hermeneutic Metaphysics. Second one is called Christian Kundalini and Science, Proof of the Soul, Cryptogram Solution of Egyptian Stellar 55001, and Opening the Hood of Ra. Okay. Now you're getting down into the core of what this Kundalini thing is all about. You're dealing with ancient sciences that were left case if you forgot. We're going to go to the Great Pyramid. Talk about that for a second. There's a textbook. It's called the Bible. Again, I told you the kundalini code is in the book of the Apocalypse. There's a cipher key interface that you can get that was done in 1910 that has a basic breakdown of what the ritual is. And I give that to you on the last page of this book. For your consideration. One of the problems seems to be that the energy is being drained off the planet. So man is in a state of brownout. At the same time, the information was left for man just in case if you forgot. You have the Word, which is the Bible, the Scriptures. You have pyramid and the coding in the Grand Gallery. You have the kundalini exercise, which that's in the Bible. And then you also have the information written in the stars. This is a piece that I did called Trapezium Giza Pyramid Artificial Black Hole Theory. ISBN 978-1-300-87497-3. Just read a few things off the back of this book. I say the four prime universal constants would be pi, phi, e, and the square root of -1. I theorized that they would generate a final signature spheroid called an artificial black hole. That's right, an artificial black hole underneath the Great Pyramid. To take this a bit further, the Great Pyramid by design is representative of a cosmic tomb, stellar telescope, mathematical coded, harmonically balanced, acoustic amplified, water cooled, artificial black hole, power driven, human core, chakra frequency stabilizer, kundalini model, earth grid, sacred geometry, planetary metaphysics, ley line system, concave mirror prism, light, solar power reflector, navigational lighthouse, Schumann atmosphere, resonance, inverted cone energy wave antenna. In other words, the pyramid does all that. They were looking for this. It was supposed to be a great lighthouse. It was missing. So where's this great missing lighthouse? Well, I think it's the pyramids themselves. Never heard anybody say this. But if you take the sun and you beam it onto the side of the pyramid and it reflects back up into the sky, then it should be an arrow pointing to where the pyramid is. So if you sailing, you can get back to Egypt. Right. And that's why you found those boats. They had the two boats at the boat pits. Right. And then you're going into the Egyptians sailing around the world. Uh-oh. I'm going into South America and all this here. Uh-oh. Which that leads us into the 13th zodiac sign. Man with the snake. Or the kundalini. It's Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus. It's called the 13th sign on the zodiac signs. Look them up. It says the mind unleashed. That would be freed. Okay. So now if you go to blueletterbible.com, you can look up some things in the Bible and they will give you some insight, Greek or Hebrew. If you go to Matthew 6:9 or Luke 11:2, it says, Our Father which art in heaven. The term heaven, when you click on tools, in Greek, is the Greek value word 3772. Ouranos. Ouranos. If you go a little further, you could type in Orion's belt, and then you have the belt of Orion. I did have a DVD to show you. We're going to show you a DVD. I'm going to show you a cover of the DVD. I have a store at www.spiritualshock.com. Spiritualshock.com. I came up with the theory that at a certain point, when confronted with the spiritual, if one perceives that the spiritual is reality, then one will go through something that I call spiritual shock. It's a sudden awareness. It's a shift in the change of reality. I don't know if I'll have it on my store, but I hope I will. www.spiritualshock.com. Right. This is called The Universe, Season 7. See? Mystery Channel. You have to pay for this stuff. See this on the back? Can you see that? See that? They're showing the inner workings of the pyramid. Well, they're going to show you how the pyramid shafts line up between Orion's belt and Draco, snake. Then they're going to say, well, we don't know what it means. Sure. Simple. What it means is that their coffer is not the final resting place, and that basically your future hangs in the balance. If you're going to the right, you're going to the left, Okay. I decided to come on with this because spiritual sometimes is like that. You know, you can say, well, I'm gonna go into the studio and do this and have the lights and all of this and then you run into another problem. I've had this information on hold for several years. And it was like it was like I was carrying a book of Eli. Now, this is very interesting because I kind of remember when I saw this movie that the first scene was a vehicle falling out of the sky on a guy walking. Now that's not in here. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I have movies mixed up. I just want to say that. So, now, Eli, Book of Eli, right? What you're talking about here, if you go to the Bible, is Matthew 27:46, where Jesus says, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, which is, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Interesting part about that is, when I normally hear people talk about that, they make it seem as though God has forsaken Jesus. I read it. I got it as Jesus was saying to the people, why have you all forsaken me? Why Jesus saying, why are you people? Why are you doing this? So when you go to Isaiah 19:19 through 20, you'll find that it says there's an altar for the Lord in the middle of Egypt. It's Isaiah 19:19. An altar for the Lord in the middle of Egypt. These are Egyptian scientists. Let's see if I have something else I'm going to tell you right now. And when you go to Genesis 18:1, it says, the Lord appeared to Abraham. And then there were two angels with him too. So now you get into the question of what is real. Israel. What is real? Isis, Ra, Elohim. See, if you don't believe in none of that stuff, oh well. When you won't believe in things, when you believe in things you don't understand, superstitious is the word that was a song. Kundalini, and all of a sudden Earth, Wind, and Fire come out with, they're going to tell a story more and glory all about the serpentine fire. Where'd they get that from? Bootsy Collins jumps out with Hallelujah. Parliament Funkadelic said they come back to reclaim pyramids. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on here. There's a whole lot of stuff going on here. So I just wanted to say that they have a wonderful series out. It's just going to be shocking. Bro, it's just going to tear you up. It's going to blow you out. It's called Hidden Color series. This Hidden Color story. Mhm. See, then you can go to the movie Terminator, and you're gonna find out. You're gonna check out Terminator 2. Remember the scientist had the chip, black guy. I guess you call him black. Found out that this guy that invented whatever it was, a chip or whatever, to allow computers to communicate with each other. This black guy. Mm. I think in Hidden Colors 2, they discuss the origins of the Buddhas and the Egyptian knowledge and so forth and so on. One thing I want to tell you when you're doing this study, if you really get down into it, you might need something to relax your mind because you can get too wound up, you might get too cranked up. So you need to have some comedy. Might need to have some comedy. Like Charlie Murphy. I will not apologize. You see, it's something funny about comedians because sometimes they tell you things and then they laugh. But, if you know Charlie Murphy, or you know of Charlie Murphy, or you've heard of Charlie Murphy, it's big to do with he and Rick James. In his comedy, he says, he's talking about somebody else. He says, yeah, I know who that is. That's the spirit of Rick James in her. I mean, is he joking or is he real? Since I know Rick James, I know Rick James. The spirit of Rick James. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So when you get into the kundalini, you start to deal with your electromagnetic self. You find that in the martial arts. One movie they showed it to you, The Last Dragon. I hope to have some of the stuff for you at my bookstore, www.spiritualshop.com. I hope it doesn't turn me out too much. Oh, speaking of being turned out, you want me to tell you how they made the pyramids? I mean, how they, made the pyramids. Okay, you ready? See, the pineal glands were so advanced and charged up that they were able to use the word like Om and all this here, and they were just right, wrong. Go to my bookstore, you'll see it. At least click on it. At least if you like what I'm saying, go buy one of my books at least. That's the least you could do. Just buy one. I don't know. Help me out. It's called an Enigma Solved. Pyramids are made out of weak concrete. When I say weak, I've seen two DVDs where some workers are using a saw. It looks like a saw that you should be cutting down a tree with. Two people, and they saw them through the stone, whatever it's called, concrete blocks. So it seems like it's really weak. That's the throw off. See, that's the throw off. They keep, well, how did they get those bricks? How did they get those blocks all the way up there? How did they move that? It's not even important. I'll tell you something else that's not important. When somebody wants to crank up an argument about December the 25th, somebody said, well, Jesus was born in a manger. Okay. Then they come back, oh no, Jesus was supposed to be born in a cave in Ethiopia. All right. Then they want to get to this Jesus had woolly hair or was his features. Okay. You see, in Egypt, they did away with all that. They made Osiris green. Then there was a player to lay down in the green pastures because your clothes would be green from grass stains. It's not the point. Okay, so then they say, well, the December 25th, that's Osiris' birthday or something. And somebody else said, oh yeah, well, December 25th, that's when let's see, I think the 22nd, 23rd, 24th, the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, the sundial's supposed to stand still. Then the 24th, it moves back, and the 25th, it moves on again because of the ellipse. Because I don't know. That's what they said. That's sort of like, it says it's a 26,000 year cycle that the planet goes through. And they say that every 26,000 years or whatever, when the planet gets to basically where we just were, for about the last 500 years, things just go crazy because we go through some sort of cosmic doubt or something like that. It's possible. It's possible. That's powerful. Here's something else. You remember when I think the comet woke up and hit Saturn? Well, Satan was supposed to be locked up for 1,000 years. We call that a millennium. But here's the funny part. And this is where they starting to say, well, they're getting this activity. I forgot right now what kind of activity they call it. But it's, when you start having phenomena. Yeah. If you get sentenced to 1,000 years, that's different than getting sentenced to a millennium. Even though a millennium is 1,000 years, so you had to catch the joke. You have to start off on year one, on year zero. So you would have to start off on year 1,000 and bring it all the way to the door of 2,000. So let's say if you had to start doing your bit. I mean, some of this is funny. You're supposed to enjoy this like you're a paper chaser. You have your block on fire. No matter what it is, you cry when you suffer. That type of thing. But that's you with the big bounty. So it's supposed to be funny when you catch on to some of this stuff. It's if you're on the right side, if you're on the right team. If you're not on the right team, this might not be funny at all. But anyway, what was I telling you? I was telling you about the 1,000 years. So let's say if the war broke out in heaven around about the year, what do you want to call it, 30? I don't know. You don't even know what time it is. Now I just got finished telling you about the 13th zodiac sign. So now you don't know what time it is, Flavor. You don't know where you are in the zodiac. Then you come back with, now they're saying Jesus was probably born around 6 BC. Because then Herod or whatever, he found out about the star and said, well, kill all the children, 4 years and younger. He tried to double up from Egypt. from when they were looking for Moses. Said, oh, well, okay. They went with 2 years last time. This time we're going to go 4 years. By then he's already gone. So that goes back to, well, was he in a manger or was he in a cave in Ethiopia? That doesn't matter because he was on the run. He was on the run. They know that they broke him with the Egypt. So he was on the run. Okay? You don't even know why. Why are they talking about why? You know, okay, in the Hidden Colors too, they say, well, they talk about this one guy. And he said, well, people are not going to believe parts of the story or whatever. Because Jesus' birthday was supposed to be in August or something. I don't see why not. See, if I had a doctrine, my doctrine would be read your Bible from cover to cover. Because the Bible tells you that unless the Holy Spirit, which is the Holy Paracletos, comes on and explains to you what it means, you'll never understand. Matter of fact, unless you need to be activated, it might not. Tell you, you're just supposed to be obedient. You read it, read it, you with me? Fine. Did my part. You see. So, now let me see, what was I going to tell you? Oh, so I said you read it from cover to cover, and you just be ready to be activated. I was going to tell you something else, but maybe I'll remember it in a few. Yeah. Oh, that's what I was going to tell you. So I'm looking at this thing right here. So, okay. All right. You ready now? Won't you hold on? Nobody said that there wasn't people before Adam and Eve. Oh, so the guy says, nobody's gonna believe your story, about Jesus, I guess, being born in the manger and the J letter and all this. Well, you look at the letter J though, it looks like a fishing hook, doesn't it? Okay. And as a matter of fact, they've changed letters before. I think when I was tracing down something in the Greek, they changed. No, in the Hebrew, they changed letters. Sometimes to throw you off. Right. See, because if you go to Revelation 13:18 and you look up the meaning, you're trying to find out the meaning for this number. Well, it's very easy. You go get the Greek dictionary, then you get the Greek cipher key, which tells you like A was 1, B was 2, C was 3. Okay. Then you figure out what's the longest word in the Greek dictionary. Then you find out you go through it. If a word is over, say 700, you know to rule it out. If its numerical value is over 700, so you go through and you start ruling out those. Then everything that's less than 500, you start ruling them out, and basically. But now somebody changed the alphabet on you. Yeah. Oh, this is what it said. Here, I'm gonna let this one out too. It's in my book. This is on number 2. I'm gonna respond to what was it, Hidden Color number 2. It said, African Americans or whatever are only people that don't have a name for their God in their language. I have a name for my God in my language. I have the Old Testament name and the New Testament name. Right. It's in the other book. Yeah, so I give you the breakdown in the other book. In where's my other book? Yeah, in book 2 of the Hidden Master series, Christian Kundalini Science Proof of the Soul, Cryptogram Solution of Egyptian Stellar 55001, and Opening the Hood of Ra. ISBN number 9780578100791. Right. And basically, what I did, I took the tetragrammaton, the 4 letters, and I used the Hebrew letter key, word key, and I plugged in the words. And the word said, the Hebrew says Yod He Vod He. Yod He Vod He. Yeah. It comes out to something like see the hand, see the nail. Now who has a nail in the hand? Right. Who was here in Genesis 18:1? The Lord appeared to Abraham. Right. See, I mean, you're going to get with this stuff or you're not going to get with it. It's like Cool and the Gangster. Get down on it. Now I'm going to really go all out on it. I hope you're ready for it. Jerry Lewis as the Nutty Professor. That's just funny. It's cool. Okay. Somebody's trying to tell you something. Somebody's trying to tell you something about Bigfoot, Sasquatch. I know Sasquatch, but I like saying that. Yeti, the abominable snowman, which they think the abominable snowman is really the polar bears, because polar bears hunt humans. And they play tricks. Like the polar bear will be behind you and make sure that you see him. He'll run way around the snow dunes so you can't see him and be up in front of him, waiting to ambush. Mm-hmm. He eats humans. Right. So let's see, we got Sasquatch and all that. Really what we're talking about is Planet of the Apes. Uh-oh. Y'all say, see, he gone too far. Planet of the Apes. Actually, it's 2 different ones. Planet of the Apes and Creature from the Black Lagoon. Mm-hmm. Ape Man and the Fish Man. Fishy Man. Now you know about the Ape Man. You just, you haven't put it together. But you have Cro-Magnon, Peking, Homo erectus, all this. Choose any one of them you want to be your Ape Man. But what about the Creature from the Black Lagoon? Fish Man. I hope to have this for you at my store. At least maybe you buy one of my books. Right. This is called Your Inner fish. See this? PBS. See that fish? This guy is saying that this fish came on land like the Frankel fish and somehow turned into a human. I said, wait a minute. Wait just 1 minute. There would need to be a transition because the fish not going to be able to make it out of the water. So, we turn to the creature of Black Lagoon. Come on up. And actually, oh yeah, see, he's talking about this. He says, searching for the deep pedigree of Homo sapiens, using both the fossil record and DNA evidence. He traces various parts of our body structures to creatures that lived long, long ago. Right. Then I was surprised to find out it just gets weird. It just gets weird. Yeah, it gets weird. Yeah. But I believe on this tape, he also has the monkey people. And some people still have nibbles and little tails that they go get taken off at the hospital. Whatever. There's a gentleman who came up with the Grand Unified Theorem. His name is Professor Oyabo, Oyabo. And he has taken Einstein's, I can't even say he's taken Einstein's theory. He's just taking it to a whole nother level. Just a whole nother level. So now we're going to check him out. Grand Unified Theorem. And of course, there's a genius that leaves the hood. He's talking about Jay-Z. I just want to say this. I don't know why they hating on Jay. There's some terrible hatred. Just terrible hatred. And they saying things like, well, he made it out. He owes. He has to come back here. All he has to do is set an example and get out. See? It's a beautiful thing. So, let's see how this starts off. Because I think this is the way it's supposed to start. And I kind of like it. It's okay. I'm Frank M. Conaway Jr. It's Kundalini, the Kundalini Yoga Christian Master is. Look for it coming out. Hope to have some more DVDs for you, some more YouTube for you. It's ISBN number 978-1-33119-8. And for your Bible friends, they need this so they can at least find out where the cipher key is. So you can get your cipher key. So you can make some kind of sense out of the book of Revelation. Because what is the book of Revelation or the Apocalypse trying to teach you? It's teaching you about the reality. Oh, so in I didn't finish in the Hidden Colors 2. The guy says, well, Nobody's gonna believe this, I guess, manger story or Jesus born on the 25th instead of the first. Maybe 7 days for the 7 days of creation or something. I don't know. I say, really? Really? In that Bible, you had a snake that talks and walked. But I think if you look up the Congo snake, they show that the Congo snake still has hands and feet, basically, but we can't use it. So you had a talking snake. One of my favorite stories in the Bible, you had a talking donkey. Right. And you notice you get this donkey when Jesus brought this donkey into Bethlehem. Right. You got the man swallowed by the whale. We found out that a sailor, I don't know if it was a United States sailor, but I read about it years ago. He got swallowed up by a whale. He was gone for like 2, 3 days or something like that. Whale spit him out. He was bleached, but he had food. They said fresh fish. I don't know. Now there's a story that I like that you won't find in the King James Bible, but you find in the Catholic Bible. It's called Baal and the Dragon. I like that story. These people, they have an idol up in there, right? And they pretend like the idol eats the food. But what they do, they have a trap door. So in the evening, once the food is in there, they lock the door up and all of that. And they go in there and eat food, whatever. So that's cool. Yeah. So then you have this demonology. Because you have to remember King James also authorized a book called Demonology. So he was into the power. He was into the power. Now you might say, well, things are not really just out of hand like they were in biblical times. Well, there's a lot going on. Look, Jesus cast the demon legion out. So there's been a lot going on. You know, been a lot of rebuking of demons and what, biblically speaking. You know, the question is, do you know where you're going to? Why are you here? How did you fall? If you're one of those. See, people came with natural earth, and seems as though Jesus opened it up to anybody who wanted to come. Then he started teaching the inner teachings, hidden teachings, really irritating everybody. He was really irritating certain people. All good for me though. So I hope that you enjoyed this, and I have more to come, and we'll see how it goes. www.spiritualshop.com. By the way, I go by Meta, META 3_14. Right. As in metaphysics. I'm glad for New Hidden Columns 3. Because see, when I said it, there's a whole lot of static. Metaphysicists, metaphysicists, metaphysicists. Well, now, Reverend Phil Valentine is a metaphysicist. Okay? Haters got to hate, man. And anyway, speaking of metaphysics, you do know Aristotle wrote the book Metaphysics. Mm-hmm. Right. He who laughs last might laugh inside. That'd be cool. Hotel.